Amped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. K-Man Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The K-Man Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. FIS MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide. MoneyGram, bringing you closer. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome to For the Record. Today is Friday, the 20th day of March 2020. I hope and I trust that everyone had a peaceful, restful, hopefully enjoyable evening. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, again, we urge you to please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Remember that the life you save may be your own. For those of you who have lost loved ones over the past few days, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you, and we hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these very challenging times. To our colleague, DJ Lynn, we want to give a big shout out to you. Again, let you know that you are in our thoughts and in our prayers, and we hope and trust that you will have a speedy recovery as well. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the roads of the Cayman Islands into your places of work, whether it be an office cubicle or if you're working elsewhere. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. Phone lines are always open, and there is always someone there waiting to take your calls. Again, this morning, it is the voice of Silver Fox, Mr. Paul Akal. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number is 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. If you don't like to talk on the telephone, email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us on 925-3261, where you can send us a text message or leave us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And of course, you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. Before I introduce my guest this morning, one of our listeners has asked me to they pointed out that there are many listeners in Roatan, Honduras, who listen to Radio Cayman and to For the Record as well. And they also wanted to send their condolences to the family of Mr. Louis Ebanks, Doc, known as Doc. This caller pointed out, this writer, pointed out that he and Doc sailed on the Kavala together, and so he wanted to express that. Very close neighbor. I can call his name. I think he would want that. That would be Mr. George Chalette, and of course George's grandparents lives right next door to Mr. Lewis and his family as well, Miss Estella and them, right there on Shedden Road. So big shout out to those listeners in Rotan, Honduras as well. Of course, today being Friday, it is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning none other than the Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Arden McLean, and his deputy, MLA, Mr. Alva Suku. Gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC, and morning to the rest of the Cayman Islands, and sounds like we have listeners in Rotan as well, to the Bay Islands. Mm-hmm. I too would like to express my condolences to Doc's family. I too sailed with Doc. Good engineer. He was a second engineer when I was sailing with him. Well, he always was a second engineer. I was the electrical third, and he was the second. The second is the one responsible for all chemicals and the makeup of water and boilers and ensuring the boilers are kept in good shape. Doc was a good engineer. A lot of fun. Lots of fun. Mm-hmm. And I have fond memories of Doc. Of course, in the ship days, you call people by their surname or by their rank. And he was always second. It was never Doc, but we also knew him as Doc. Yeah, he was a good guy. We have lost a good Caymanian there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mr. Suku?
Good morning, OC. Morning to the listeners and people viewing from abroad. It's been a while since I've been on, but under the current circumstances, I think that it's understandable that we're all been very busy.
Certainly, yes.
A lot of anxiety, I think, in our communities, and people are concerned and so forth. But we're here to hopefully set some concerns at ease, and answer whatever questions that the listeners have, and hopefully be as productive as we can in that aspect. So I'm looking forward to a good show, encouraging people to call in and let us know what their concerns are as well.
Well, they don't need much encouragement because we already have someone on hold. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you all today?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning.
Yeah, thank you. Just a quick question there to Mr. McLean. Maybe you can answer, maybe not. I understand, although that the situation in Honduras with no airlines flying in there from Cayman, but I also understand that Air Canada flew in there twice this week. They were given permission to pick up their residents and take them out. So why can't Cayman Airways do the same thing? What is the difference? If you could answer me, I would appreciate it, sir. Let me know.
I really can't answer that question because I don't know the plans for Cayman Airways or what the government has decided, because I'm not a part of that decision making. That is exclusively up to the cabinet and Cayman Airways. The only information I have is knowing that we have shut down flights, will be shutting down flights into this country, commercial flights anyway, other than cargo. And would we have I'm only wondering if we would have that amount of residents in Honduras that we would have to do a quote-unquote MRSA flight, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I think that is what Canada basically did I see, one article here that Canadians trapped in crime-ridden part of Honduras, and I would imagine, and they did allow them, Canadian flights, to go into to allow their citizens to be removed, but they did have a full border closure for 7 days, and that was reported on the 16th of March, and it basically reads, Honduras government announced all borders, air, land, and sea will be closed as of 11:59 p.m. Sunday, March the 15th, 2020, for a period of 7 days. Travelers should check with individual air carriers to confirm flight options beyond that date, and those with existing itineraries should reconfirm their departure details. Travelers with health concerns are encouraged to communicate with air carriers directly. So that was the situation.
They closed their borders.
Yeah.
They closed their borders.
So that would be part of that consideration as well.
Yes.
Their government has closed their borders.
Just like we are closing ours, we announced that a week ago or thereabouts. So that gave people, last week, that gave people the opportunity to leave.
To leave, yeah.
That was Monday, I believe, we announced that come Sunday it would be closed. And that gave people every opportunity to leave, I guess.
Yeah, and Cayman Airways did publish a revised schedule, in terms of their flights and stuff like that. I'm not sure, caller, whether or not the Honduran flight, what did they indicate on their revised schedule with that? I'm not sure.
Yeah, Mr. Connor, the thing is with that, the story, many people don't know the story, but the people that down there, what happened, some of them were supposed to come up on Monday, but their airport in Rattan was closed. It was announced by the president Sunday evening on the radio, on the TV in Honduras. But then, 7 o'clock Monday morning, they gave Cayman Airways permission to go to La Ceiba. But the part with that, the people that was in Rattan could not get any transportation
to La Ceiba.
To La Ceiba to catch the flight.
Okay.
Because no flights, not even the yacht or anything was traveling. So that's the situation.
Oh, so we did go in, is what he's saying.
In Monday,
we went in on that Marcia flight. Yeah.
They didn't notify the passengers in the Bay Islands.
And do we have any idea of how many people we're talking about?
I have no idea, but it is several down there in Rotan, and some of them don't have any money to stay down there. And they was saying because they saw up to yesterday a Canadian flight flew out of Rotan. They came in and picked up their people, Air Canada, and flew out. So they were just wondering if Air Canada, which only the pilot, the stewardess, and the air marshal came in on the flight from Canada, and they were explaining that the government spoke with the Honduras authorities, and the Honduras authorities gave them permission, and they said they don't have a problem with any nationality coming to take their passengers out. So they are wondering what happened to Cayman Airways.
Oh, well, I would like to think that if that was represented to government, that government would have to seriously consider communicating with these people and making sure they're all in one place and then airlift them.
Yeah, and
there's no way we're going to leave them. We're going to leave our people anywhere in the world, and in particular as close as this one is, and that's what Cayman Airways is made for. But you remember now, while we can stop other people coming into this country and shut the country down from them, we have a responsibility to protect our own, the residents and Caymanians.
Exactly.
And we can't stop them from returning. However, we can put some restrictions on them when they return.
I think it's important also to know the number of people, because you don't want to send a 737
down there and you bring up 3 people or 6 people.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, similar. I saw an appeal from, I think it was almost 50 people from Belize, I think it was, that are here that are trying to get back home. Now, that was presented in a way that, the Cayman Islands government has said they have to leave, which isn't exactly the case. But I think what has happened to them is they've been stranded because they can't get the airlift from here to Belize right now.
Directly,
so, they're making an appeal to their government to try and assist them. But I'm pretty sure that if these things are represented to the deputy governor, they would then have to make decisions on how to deal with it.
Yeah, between the government and Cayman Airways as well in contact. Caller, I want to thank you very much for that. Time for us to take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned for the record with the Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Arden McLean, and his deputy MLA, Mr. Alva Suku, will continue after this short commercial break.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the historical vignette series, The Cayman Islands. He hath founded it upon the seas.
The 1700s proved to be a very important century to the Cayman Islands. Permanent settlement of Grand Cayman began with a few families, most notably the Boddens. Between 1734 and 1742, 5 land grants in Grand Cayman were made by the governor of Jamaica. At this time, mahogany and logwood were exported to Jamaica. In 1780, William Eden, a mariner and early English settler, established a cotton and mahogany plantation in Savannah's Pedro Bluff and built St. James, now known as Pedro St. James Castle, a remarkable building for that period and the only house on Grand Cayman to survive a devastating hurricane of 1784. In 1794, the wreck of the 10 sails occurred, and Cayman's most popular legend of how the island became tax-free was born. In 1798, the governor of Jamaica appointed the first magistrate in Cayman.
Sending money to your family overseas shouldn't be a full-day process. Stop waiting in lines. MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide, offering 3 convenient locations: Shedden Road, Bodden Water Sports in West Bay, and at FIS Brack Agency in Cayman Brack. MoneyGram by Financial Integrated Services. Visit fiscayman.com for more information on MoneyGram services. MoneyGram, bringing you closer.
Start getting your debt under control with a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank. At Fidelity, your loan decision is quick with no runaround. Plus, with competitive interest rates and fees, we will help you reduce your monthly payments and get you back to living again. Don't let the burden of overwhelming debt tie you down this year. Call Fidelity today and let's make it happen with a Fidelity Bank debt consolidation loan. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Vamped Motors is putting the brakes on for coronavirus. Strong in service and safety, Vamped Motors remains open to customers and is taking all extra health precautions needed. To eliminate cross-contamination, protective covers are being used on vehicles being serviced that are then cleaned and sanitized before they're returned to owners. All test drive vehicles are being wiped down thoroughly before and after every test drive. Vamped Motors is doing these things and much more to ensure the safety of everyone who comes through their doors. They've even set up outside seating for anyone who prefers enjoying a fresh breeze while waiting to collect their vehicle. Let's all stay safe, keep our hands clean, and practice social distancing while we work through this together. Staying open to serve your automotive needs. Vamped Motors on Walker's Road. Come see us.
I remember playing at 7 Mile Beach as a boy, eating mango by the sea, learning how to snorkel. My mother, she worked so hard to provide for our family so that we could have those moments. Seeing her age has been tough. That strong, capable woman, now in need of daily support, it's my time to be strong for her.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy understands the importance of the careful decisions you make every day for your family. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care, so you can feel confident in knowing that your family is safe with the right medication. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we take care of your health.
Honey, Our fridge has stopped working again. Everything in the freezer is melting. We need to get this repaired right away. I'm calling Brand Source Service.
When you need the very best appliance service, call Brand Source Service at 623-5000. Offering service and installation of all brands and models of appliances. Brand Source Service is Cayman's source for appliance parts and repairs, with qualified and experienced technicians and the island's largest stock of appliance parts. Brand Source Service will have your repair completed in a flash. So, whatever the problem is, call the experts at 623-5000. Brand Source Service, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Telephone 623-5000.
This is a public service announcement from your Radio Cayman, your community radio station. Here are some coronavirus prevention tips.
Home isolation means staying indoors and completely avoiding contact with other people. You need to do this if you have symptoms of COVID-19. If you are practicing home isolation, you should stay in a well-ventilated room with a window to outside that can be opened separate from other people in your home. Keep the door closed and use a separate bathroom from the rest of the household, if available. If you have to share these facilities, regular sterilization will be required. Consider drawing up a bathroom schedule for washing or bathing and have the isolated person using the facilities last.
For the latest updates and information, please visit hsa.ky/public-health/coronavirus or gov.ky/coronavirus.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. My pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning, Honorable Arden McLean, Leader of the Opposition, and his Deputy MLA, Mr. Albert Suku. I want to share with you the latest update in relation to a travel advisory, and this one is from Customs and Border Control, and it reads, Customs and Border Control would like to clarify that from Friday the 20th to Sunday the 22nd of March 2020, Caymanian residents, essential personnel, and persons with connections to the Cayman Islands arriving on flights from the United Kingdom will be permitted to enter the Cayman Islands subject to strict 14-day isolation protocols. Non-residents and tourists will not be permitted entry and should not be boarded on incoming flights. And it goes on to say, due to COVID-19 travel restrictions, tourists are not approved for landing in the Cayman Islands, and tourists who remain in the Cayman Islands are encouraged to leave by Sunday, the 22nd of March, 2020. Caymanians and residents will continue to arrive on international flights until the Owen Roberts International Airport closes on Sunday, the 22nd of March, 2020. So I think that basically makes it quite clear.
You see, because we're not part of all these decision making, we're not part of it. So I don't want anybody to misunderstand or to think that we're trying to spread any fear or anything. But when they say strict isolation, I don't know how we're enforcing that. I must tell you, I don't know how we're enforcing that, because that's virtually impossible unless you have a containment area or section of the country where you can ensure that they are isolated. Because right now, and I think we need to talk about this, when the government say that we encourage and we want people to go into self-isolation, it is important that people stick to that and ensure they do not come out into the community. Because one, they could be asymptomatic and spread this virus. I think that they must take on some serious responsibility. I am learning of people who came into this country, students out of England, who were told to go into isolation. They chose to go home, and now they're out in the community. Now, that needs to stop. We cannot enforce it. We do not have National Guard, army, and what have you to go look at everybody's house. We don't have that. And even then, it is difficult. It would have to be that we're in a particular area. But people have to take up the responsibility, especially the parents in this country. How would any parent, and I won't throw this out to them, how would you like, if your child comes home from school or one of your loved ones and asks to go into self-isolation, and they don't, and you don't enforce it, and then your child spreads coronavirus throughout this country, especially to their families. The other family members, their extended family members, like their grandparents, their uncles, their aunts, whatever the case may be, who are vulnerable. Would you like for your children to do that?
Well, it seems as if the uptake in terms of what the government has offered is pretty. There has been positive response to that, and I don't have enough time to share it now, but we will share that when we come back from the news. We do have one caller, and we're going to try to accommodate that caller before we go to the news. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. For the Record.
Good morning, Doc. How are you?
Good, I'm fine, and good morning to the Honorable Arden McLean and his deputy.
Good morning, Doc.
I would like to send my condolences to Doc's family.
Okay.
Doc was my scoutmaster.
Yeah.
There were two assistant scoutmasters when I was in the Scouts, Warren Bernard and Louis B. Banks. Peter Mackey was our scoutmaster. I was the patrol leader for the Swan Patrol. And
Doc, tell me the relation between Bernard and Doc. That's brother-in-laws, right?
No, they're just neighbors.
Okay.
Neighbors. They were neighbors in that area in Caden Road.
Yeah, right across from McDonald's. I know that.
Okay, and Doc's sister Nanette was married to Vinton.
I was married to Vinton.
Yes.
Which was Warren Bernard's brother.
Brother, yes.
So
that's the relation.
Yeah. So back in the old days when they had the church bazaars, the Boy Scouts were obliged to help in to raise money for the church, and the bazaars in Georgetown used to be at the town hall yard, in the town hall and yard. It wasn't a park then; it was called the town hall yard. And after the bazaar in the daytime, they would have a concert at night at the town hall, and the Boy Scouts were asked to participate in the concert. And so my patrol, and some other people included, I think, with Nicholas Godfrey and Warren Bernard, Harwell Bird, and all those people, we decided to put on a skit in the town hall during the concert. And we decided to sing some Negro spirituals. I ain't gonna grieve my Lord no more, blah, so things like that. And while we were there, a senior member from the church came up on the stage and stopped us from singing, and said that we were blaspheming in the name of the Lord in town hall. And of course, we had spent all these weeks rehearsing our songs and everything, and it was the first time that I had faced that sort of discrimination in my life. And Doc was the one who had to walk me through it. He started to explain to me how the system works, how the establishment works, and things like that. because I was going to really make a noise out there that night. And Doc had to walk me through it. Doc and myself and Trent McMillan from Northside, Sidney Percy, Anise Godfrey, and Nicky Godfrey, and Donna Bernard, and Woodrow Smith.
Doc, I'm going to have to interrupt you because we've reached to 8 o'clock news and have to go to it right away. But I want to welcome you to call us back as soon as we come back from the news at 8:15. Sorry about that, Doc. Our apologies, but that's the way the program works. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back after the 8 o'clock news.
Radio Cayman Time Check is now 8 a.m. Your time check is brought to you by our friends at Foster's.
As our island endures this unprecedented period, we'd like to assure the Cayman community that Foster's is quickly adapting to better serve our customers and keep our team safe. We now have a dedicated shopping hour from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. for those who are more vulnerable within our community, and we ask the public to respect this time. We've put product limits in place on high-demand items to ensure availability for as many of our customers as possible, and have converted all of our hot bars to service for the time being. For more updates, follow Foster's Cayman on Facebook and Instagram.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by Value Med Pharmacy, with 2 locations to serve you, Walkers Road in Georgetown and an Evron Plaza, Boddentown. Visit Value Med, more than just a pharmacy. Did you know that Value Med Pharmacy has a free online prescription service? Managing your health and medical requirements has never been easier with Value Med. Simply visit value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com and click the Refill Prescriptions tab on our website. Fill in the information for new prescriptions or refills and choose your preferred pickup location. Value Med on Walkers Road or Boddentown. Then bring in your original prescription from your doctor when picking up. There's no need to stand in line and wait for your prescription. Save time and pick up prescriptions at your convenience by visiting value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. Police Commissioner Derek Burns says you can expect to see high visibility when it comes to policing in the coming days.
We have redirected our traffic resources and our community policing resources, our firearms response unit resources and our K9 unit resources, and they are all performing high visibility patrols.
Officers are visiting supermarkets, banks, and the hospital and medical facilities, as well as airports throughout the weekend. There will also be a shift to their schedules with a move to a 2-shift system. Officers will now work in 12-hour shifts, 4 days on, 4 days off.
So they work longer hours but less days. So we will have higher visibility, more persons on those units.
Commissioner Burns says the approach has been well received and is designed to build in maximum resilience while promoting greater work-life balance for police in the medium to short term. Customs and Border Control would like to clarify that from today through Sunday, Caymanians, residents, essential personnel, and people with connections to the Cayman Islands arriving on flights from the United Kingdom will be permitted to enter the Cayman Islands, but will be expected to observe a strict 14-day isolation protocol. CBC says non-resident and tourists are not allowed entry and should not be boarded on incoming flights. Due to the COVID-19 travel restrictions, tourists are not approved for landing in the Cayman Islands, and tourists who remain in Cayman are encouraged to be gone by Sunday. Caymanians and residents will continue to arrive on international flights until the Owen Roberts International Airport closes on Sunday. And if you're looking for something to keep yourself or your kids occupied and engaged while you're hanging out at home, one local business is setting up some neat art projects for you and the fam. Art Nest studio director Christina Pineda tells Radio Cayman they've canceled most of their in-person classes but have something else in store for the rest of their courses.
But while we are canceling some painting classes in person, we are not canceling them completely. We're actually transitioning all of the acrylic painting classes online in a live stream format so people can actually still buy their discounted tickets. We've discounted the price just because it's now easier and less costly to do it in your home. and you can paint along with us right from the comfort of your own home with live instruction.
Ms. Pineda tells Radio Cayman that people are feeling isolated, frightened, and even bored. She says being creative is a good way to keep your spirits up. For more information, head to artsnestcayman.com. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Karsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Aaron Safir. Germany has put 2 cities into virtual lockdown to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. Leverkusen in the northwest has ordered people not to go out in couples or groups. The university city of Freiburg in the southwest earlier confined everyone to their homes except for essential journeys. The head of Germany's leading health institute said younger people were still behaving unreasonably by getting too close. Italy's worst-hit province, Lombardy, has asked for tougher central government action after a visiting Chinese expert said he was shocked by the number of people outside in close proximity. 40 million people in California have been ordered to stay home to help fight the spread of the coronavirus. California's governor warned it was now forecast to infect more than half of the state's population by May. Japan has greeted the arrival of the Olympic flame, with the government insisting it still plans to host the 2020 Tokyo Games despite the pandemic. There's growing pressure for a postponement. The number of known coronavirus cases across Africa has risen to about 850, almost 6 times the number recorded just a week ago. There are concerns about the capacity of overstretched healthcare systems. All shops and offices in India's financial capital, Mumbai, except banks and essential services, are to be closed until the end of the month. Maharashtra has more confirmed coronavirus cases than any other Indian state. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has argued that his country has benefited from American sanctions because they've forced it to be self-sufficient. Iran's economy has been devastated by President Trump's decision to reimpose sanctions. 2 senators from Mr. Trump's Republican Party are facing calls to resign over allegations they used insider knowledge to sell off shares before their prices tumbled due to fears of the coronavirus. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by Value Med Pharmacy, with 2 locations to serve you, Walkers Road in Georgetown and an Evron Plaza, Boddentown. Visit Value Med, more than just a pharmacy. Value Med Pharmacy is your community care partner for health and wellness needs. We offer convenient prescription processing at the counter and online at value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com, with pickup available at the Walkers Road or Boddentown location. We also accept transfer prescriptions from other pharmacies. More than just a pharmacy, shop Value Med for personal care and beauty products from trusted brands, perfume and gift sets, Hallmark and greeting cards, baby clothes, footwear, handbags, swimwear, home decor, toys, school supplies, and stationery. And home convalescence aids like wheelchairs, walkers, crutches, canes, and hospital beds. With 2 locations to serve you, Walkers Road in Georgetown and in Evron Plaza, Boddentown. Visit Value Med, more than just a pharmacy.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
To protect the health of our customers and staff, Water Authority Cayman is encouraging customers to conduct as much business as possible online or over the phone to avoid coming into the office. Need to pay a bill? You can do it online. Just visit our website, waterauthority.ky, and click on the Pay My Bill button. Experiencing service issues? Contact our customer service team over the phone on 949-2837 or email info@waterauthority.ky. Don't forget to practice good hygiene by washing your hands frequently with soap and water. For updates from the Water Authority, visit our website, waterauthority.ky, and our social media pages.
For the health of it, Radio Cayman's premier health show is brought to you by Healthcare Pharmacy, the Cayman Islands Civil Service Association, Holy Cross Hospital,
Cayman Fertility Center,
and EatingClean.com.
This is For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
A public service announcement from Radio Cayman. Coronavirus prevention tips. Advice for vulnerable people. Extra steps you can take to avoid COVID-19. If you have a chronic illness such as respiratory disease, diabetes, heart disease, COPD, hypertension, or cancer, or are elderly, over 60, or have a compromised immune system, you can further protect yourself with extra precautionary steps in addition to prevention tips. 1. Limit guest visits at home to a few family and friends or your district community officer during an outbreak. 2. Avoid guests who show signs of flu-like symptoms. 3. Remain 3 to 6 feet away unless being checked by your healthcare provider. More importantly, remember you are supported. Call the HSA helpline on 1-800-534-8600 or 947-3077 if you have any questions. For the latest updates and information, please visit hsa.ky/public-health/coronavirus or gov.ky/coronavirus. The Weather Report is proudly sponsored by Super Stitch Sewing and Fabric Center, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasador Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
Super Stitch. We are known for our amazing fabrics, top quality tailoring, and dressmaking. But did you know that we also carry trimmings, glitter, sequins, acrylic paints for fabrics and craft, floral wire, glues, markers, foam balls, and assorted ribbons? Yes, we do. You have a do-it-yourself project? Just pop into Super Stitch and see what we have in store for you. There is a craft item for your every need.
My favorite, the beads, glass ones, flat, and even those shell ones.
Super Stitch, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasadora Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
Good morning, Cayman. Let's take a look at your latest weather. Compliments of our friends at Super Stitch. Present temperature 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Conditions are partly sunny. Relative humidity 71%. Winds are out of the east-northeast at 14 knots. Barometric pressure now at 30.11 and rising. Wind gusts are up to 19 knots. Moderate to fresh east to northeast winds along with rough seas will continue across the Cayman area in association with the pressure gradient tightening over the northwest Caribbean. Forecast for today, partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of morning showers. Temperatures will rise to the mid-80s. Winds will be east to northeast at 15 to 20 knots. Seas will be rough with wave heights of 4 to 6 feet. Small craft should exercise caution over the open waters. Later tonight, partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of late-night showers. Temperatures will fall to the mid-70s. Winds will be east to northeast at 10 to 15 knots with higher gusts. And seas will be rough with wave heights of 4 to 6 feet. Again, small craft, exercise caution over the open waters. We're now in a high tide, which kicked in a few minutes ago at 8:08. It's going to be low at 2:19 this afternoon. It's going to be high at 8:03 tonight. For tomorrow, low tide is at 2:19 a.m., high at 8:32 a.m., low at 2:49 p.m., and high at 8:19 p.m. Sunset this Friday evening is at 6:35. Sunrise for tomorrow at 6:29. The outlook is for similar weather conditions through Sunday morning. That's your latest weather as provided by the Cayman Islands National Weather Service.
Super Stitch Sewing and Fabric Center was the proud sponsor of the Weather Report, your one-stop shop for all of your household items, craft items, jewelry, beads, and decorations, and much more. Call Super Stitch at 949-2833 or email customer care at superstitch.com.ky.
New stock has just arrived at Super Stitch. Now don't take my word for it, drop by and see for yourself. Fresh off the boat, we have loads of fabric, vinyl upholstery fabric, fabric for cushions, outdoor fabrics, and dress fabric. That's not all. Super Stitch has sewing accessories and craft items. Included in the new shipment, you will find sheets, comforters, throw pillows, bath mats, rugs, and curtains for every room in your home. Super Stitch, 39 Pasador Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best price in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
If your business is over here, but your customers are over here, adding more yellow to your business will bring you both right here. With everyone searching yellows, print, online, and mobile app, getting your business noticed is easier than ever. Book your consultation today at findyellow.com.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning. Let's take a look at a traffic report brought to you by our friends at Subway. West Bay Road at the moment, looking out from the Ritz-Carlton, amazingly clear with just one or two vehicles on the road. Streets in Georgetown, very light traffic. Just looking at the roundabout outside A.L. Thompson, incoming traffic from the Islay Tibbets. As you make your way down along North Sound Road and down to Thomas Russell Way, good movement of traffic. Coming out of the east, very light traffic, similar along the Linford Pearson Highway and Crew Road. And most streets in Georgetown, very light with traffic. Enjoy your commute. Buckle up, stay safe. The traffic report brought to you by our friends at Subway.
You know what goes perfect with tuna? Bacon. That's why Subway's adding bacon to our delicious tuna sandwich. It's the Tuna BLT. At just 540 calories for a 6-inch, you'll love this mouth-watering combination of flavors. Subway's tasty tuna sandwich is simply sumptuous on its own, but add bacon and it's out of this world delicious. After all, bacon and tuna are perfect together. Stop by any of Subway's 7 locations today and get the Tuna BLT. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
This is a public service announcement from your Radio Cayman, your community radio station. Here are some coronavirus prevention tips.
Self-isolation is an effective precautionary measure to protect those around you, your family, friends, and colleagues from contracting COVID-19. You or the person you are caring for should remain in your home except for getting medical care. Do not go to work, school, or public areas, and do not use buses or taxis until you have been told by the Public Health Department that it is safe to do so. You will need to ask for help if you require groceries, other shopping, or medications. Please seek the advice from the Public Health Department.
For the latest updates and information, please visit hsa.ky/public-health/coronavirus or gov.ky/coronavirus.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Honorable Arden McLean, Leader of the Opposition, and his Deputy MLA, Mr. Alva Suku. Sorry that we had to interrupt Dr. McField's call, but we had to go to the 8 o'clock news. So I welcome him to certainly call back and he can finish telling us that we want to hear more about Mr. Louis C. Banks, also known as Doc, as well. Okay, we have one caller on hold. Just before we take that caller, though, I just want to put this out there to our listening and viewing audience. And yesterday, as of 1 p.m. yesterday, a total of 66 students who are coming home to the Cayman Islands on international flights through Sunday, the 22nd of March, have confirmed their plans to utilize the dedicated isolation facility. And already yesterday, a total of 12 returning students had arrived and had been transported directly from the airside of the airport to the hotel. At the facilities, students will be provided with free accommodations, meals, and Wi-Fi. Personnel have been stationed at the airport to oversee the process and to assist the students. House rules for persons residing in the facility have been provided to students. And the government pointed out that they expected more students to avail themselves of the option in the coming days. And then they have provided a toll-free hotline, 534-6555, or they can also email neoc@gov.ky. The government also pointed out that they have thus far reserved 100 rooms and 200 beds, and that negotiations are ongoing if the situation requires more as well. So with that, there's some more in terms of returning travelers as well. We're going to take the call, give you an opportunity to respond as well. Yeah. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yeah, good morning again, gentlemen. Mr. Connor, two questions I'd like to find out. One, what about gatherings at a funeral? That is one. And the second one is, I understand that a flight came in from Jamaica yesterday, and nobody was quarantined on that flight. Can you say anything on that? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, caller.
Well, as for the funerals, the rule is 50? Clear, 50 people or less. So unfortunately, I know that at a, especially dealing with a funeral, you're going to have large numbers of people who want to come out. But the churches, I think, have been very good at organizing sort of mini sermons and ceremonies so that they can accommodate groups at a time. Yes. I don't know how it would be all up to the family, how they wanted to orchestrate that, but the rule is 50 persons or less. So unfortunately, that is what the parameters you have to work within. The flight from Jamaica, nobody being quarantined, is a funny question because you want to quarantine people when they're sick.
Yes.
So if they came in and nobody was observed to have symptoms, then there's no need to quarantine. But there is a need to tell people to self-isolate for 2 weeks. Yes. And hopefully everybody's complying with that. But that is what I was going to touch on just now, because my concern is that some people consider self-isolation a convenience or a convenience thing, where I'll do it today and tomorrow, but I need to go to the shop the next day, and they run out for an hour. That is not isolation. At that point, you have gone out into the community. If you are infectious at that point, you are going to infect somebody. So self-isolation requires a lot of discipline. You need to stay home. You need to arrange with family members, whoever, to make sure you have what you need when you're at home. But don't take the chance of going out, running out to the ATM, running out to whatever, because one trip out, could trigger you infecting someone else.
Exactly.
And I want to frame it in this context. None of us want to be the first local case of transmission, or the cause of the first local transmission. So what we need to ensure we do, and I don't want to place a stigma on it, because if you have symptoms, if you're not feeling well, contact public health, follow the advice. But let's do our best to not be that first person. And that way, I think, with that level of caution, even if we do have a spread locally, at least we would have known that we've taken every possible precaution against that happening. But, people have to be disciplined now, and you have to stop thinking about what's best for me, but what is best for the community as a whole.
Yeah. And also, despite us having identified 3 cases now, one has passed, we know exactly where it's at. So that, well, it's bad news for us to have it. That is good news because we know exactly where it's concentrated, and how that got here, how it got transmitted, and whatnot. The concern becomes for this country when we get community transmission, because then that's where it starts spreading like wildfire. That is why people who are asked or told to isolate themselves must do it. They must be very stringent with their isolation. Whomever is in charge must ensure the parents, especially of those students who didn't take up the offer to go to the hotels, must ensure that this thing is done. Because you're child or your family member is putting the entire country at risk. Are we prepared? Is there one amongst us who will hold their hands up and say they're prepared to morally take on that responsibility that they infected this country and admit that they did it because of their carelessness? I hope not, because, no matter what we do in this country, the authorities or all of us, this country is a very small country. And we are a very sociable type of people. We need to be very careful. We need to be very careful. And that extends now on to us as politicians, because we need to be very careful, especially visitations to the elderly. Everybody has a phone now. Not only everybody household has a phone, the area household has a phone, everybody has a personal phone. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong with a month of calling on the phone. You don't have to see people. Just pick up the phone and call. Yeah. And, and if it's necessary then to go to visit them, to provide something for them or something, we then maintain our distance and turn away. There's no need for us to be there talking about politics at this time.
And I know our culture makes it difficult for us to be that way. Because, I've been places and I have seen people really making an effort to distance themselves. But it makes you feel uncomfortable when you do it, because you don't want people to feel like you're shunning them.
Yes.
But because it's the Caymanian way, that's how we are. We're very social people. But, I had a lady call me last night. She's 71 years old. She needed me to help her with something, but she wanted to come see me. I said, no, for your safety, I would prefer that we do this by phone. Yes. I hope you understand. She understood very well and sent me, I think it was 4 WhatsApp voice notes, and we resolved it that way, or we resolved how we would deal with it that way. So they're using technology and your phone, and as Arden said, you can deal with your responsibilities. But we, as representatives, now have to be extra cautious because we're in contact with so many people.
Yeah.
And we don't want to be the cause of a transmission.
Precisely. We're going to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yeah, I'm back again.
Hey, Doc. Sorry about that before, but you've been in the studio, so you know how it works.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that Mr. Ebanks was a quiet giant. Mm-hmm. He provided a place for us when we were after we left school, and in between that time of trying to find something to do, and in between that time waiting for our call, he was the manager for one of the only gas stations. The only gas station that came on at the time. We had 3 gas pumps. We had one at Mr. McPherson's place up in Crow Road, and we had one down on
Ingsley.
Mr. Inks's gas station, Mr. Inks's pump, but it was not a gas station. Lewis was the manager for the gas station in town, Omar, and on the waterfront.
On the waterfront, yes.
Yeah, and he was a full gas station. After that shut down, remember it became a shop that Mr. Lawrence had it. Mr. Lawrence had it into a shop where he made shoes. Shop. That's where we hung out in the daytime. We hung out there in the daytime. Myself, Woodrow Smith, Mr. Lewis, and all us. And we had a casual group. From the beginning, we never made any rules or charge any dues. We didn't have any membership for people to join, and there weren't any portions or leadership to fill. We just came together in friendship with an earliest and honest desire to help each other. We wanted to be happy and to find a way to make our lives more fulfilled. And Lewis provided that for us. And it's unfortunate that we're in this crisis, because if I were you, and I know that you're the scoutmaster now, that he should have a standoff by the scouts.
Certainly, yes.
And so forth. I know they can't do that now because the church have said, they have made their rules. But that's the kind of giant he was.
Well, Doc, if I may, I was on ship with him. I can't remember whether it's Meridian or Venus. I don't know. But it was one of the warships. And The chief was really giving me a hard time, and I just paid off. I went and told Doc I was leaving. I said, second, I can't deal with it. He said to me, he said, boy, where you think you're going? You just start your career, you know, you in this thing. I said, Doc, I can't take this, man. I left. I believe I left in Venezuela. And, you know, it's like about 20-something days to Genoa. We were going to Genoa, Italy. It wasn't long I was home. Well, I went to New York and then came home. It wasn't long I was home. I saw Doc in town. I said, what are you doing here? He said, I couldn't handle him either. That was Doc for you. He said, I couldn't handle him, McLean. I really couldn't handle that man.
Yeah, so, well, the only time that we had any, I wouldn't say against him, but it was the time that he was the first one of the crowd of us that found a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And she was from East End.
Mm-hmm.
And we were a little resentful that she had barged into our group. and he was paying more attention to her than he was paying to us. Because we would meet every evening in the night by Warren Bernard's house in his yard. And we would chat there until sometime 10, 11 o'clock at night before we got home. Remember now, we were kids 17, 18, 19 years old. And we some of us hadn't gone to sea yet. So we were 16, 17 years old. And among us was a guy from Trenwick Miller from North Side because he was boarding in Georgetown. I think he was boarding with Warren Bernard's family.
Uncle Ray J.
With Mr. Ray J. And he was one of the crowd of us too. And I remember when I left and went away, I didn't see Doc again until years later on because we all went different places. And he was our scoutmaster. He was in charge, directly in charge of us. And I never forget the time that we went to camping in Blake in East End. The Georgetown troop went to Blake's in East End, and you had to pull all your resources. And that's the first time, I realized that you had to pull all your resources. All the food that they gave you, you had to take it, like condensed milk and stuff. You had to give that.
And remind people, in them days, you didn't have the tent you could go over by Al Thompson.
You had to make your own tent.
Yes. That's right.
You had to make your own tent. And I had 2 cans of condensed milk, so I only gave one to the camp cook, which was Cheryl. Sharky.
And after you opened it, you had put it in water and one of the pots so ants couldn't get in it too.
But what I did, I kept it in the tent with me. And that night the ants came up. And the sweet milk, the ants followed the milk. And they found out that I had this hidden can of condensed milk. And Doc and Ransford Reed, and who was a senior scout then, and Warren Bernard and Teacher McFeel had a trial. They had a trial and they found me guilty of hoarding food. And they took the can of condensed milk, cut it open, and got a bucket of salt water and put it in and said that if I wanted to stay in the camp, I had to drink the bucket of salt water with the condensed milk. And of course, I didn't do that. And they said, well, you have to pack your stuff and leave. And I packed my stuff and I left the camp. But little did I know that he had called around to nearly every district, Bordentown, every place that had a phone in those days, which would ring up, dum. And they told the people, anyone who was on the road, not to pick me up. And I had to walk from Blake's to Georgetown. Mm-hmm. I walked from that morning. I didn't get Georgetown until midnight that night, because in those days there was no paved road to walk on, and that was my punishment. And remember now, I was a patrol leader, so the shame that I had to go through for the rest of the time was unbearable. Mm-hmm. And Doc was a disciplinarian. He was a Christian disciplinarian. He was a leader. He was a quiet giant, and like I said, he was the one that walked me through the rules of the establishment in those days.
Yep.
And I think that it's fitting for one of our heroes in Georgetown to have that kind of send off. I know we can't do it now, but that would be my recommendation, Mr. Orrett.
Thank you very much, Doc, for that, and we will certainly explore, what the possibilities are with that as well. Thank you very much, Doc, for that. Paul, we have a caller. We have some voice notes. Commercial break as well. Which one we're going to take the commercial break? The caller who is on hold, as soon as we return from the commercial break, we will take your calls because we can always do the voice note. So please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, formerly known as Professional Pharmacy, would like to thank the Cayman communities for their loyal support these past 18 years. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care. Thorough background checks and follow-up consultations is only the beginning. Your safety is our concern. Our staff are respected healthcare professionals whose job requires careful and precise calculations. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, where we prepare to provide exceptional care. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we care about your health.
Insurance is complicated. Make your life easier and better protected with comprehensive financial solutions from FIS Insurance Brokers, with plans from life, health, property insurance, motor, public liability, and professional liability insurance. Whether you're protecting your family or your business, leave nothing to chance. Understand your options and protect yourself for the future. Speak to your FIS Insurance Broker agent today, located on Shedden Road by MoneyGram, or call 623-5616.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
Vamped Motors is putting the brakes on for coronavirus. Strong in service and safety, Vamped Motors remains open to customers and is taking all extra health precautions needed. To eliminate cross-contamination, protective covers are being used on vehicles being serviced that are then cleaned and sanitized before they're returned to owners. All test drive vehicles are being wiped down thoroughly before and after every test drive. Vamped Motors is doing these things and much more to ensure the safety of everyone who comes through their doors. They've even set up outside seating for anyone who prefers enjoying a fresh breeze while waiting to collect their vehicle. Let's all stay safe, keep our hands clean, and practice social distancing while we work through this together. Staying open to serve your automotive needs. Vamped Motors on Walker's Road. Come see us.
System 1 loaded. 1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're going straight to the phone lines as promised. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Ossie.
Good morning, sir.
I think you got Arden there with you.
Yes. Mr. McLean and Mr. Suku.
Oh, morning, Mr. Suku and Arden.
All right, morning, old boy.
Ossie, I just calling to give my condolences to my good friend Louis, family. I really miss going there and chatting with him and getting educated. That's the one thing I will miss because he was a very good friend of mine. And you know, we had so much in common. So I just wanted to put that out. Have a good day. Good weekend, guys. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much, caller.
And you know how I came in contact with Doc? We'll see if I may. I was on the ship, and the second left. My first ship as an engineer, young kid. And they needed a second because I didn't have an experience. But I had a lot of abilities and that kind of stuff. So they did 12 to 12 watch. So only third engineers. So then I was appointed acting second on top of my other job to take care of the boilers. And they brought Doc on to relieve me from acting second. And that's when he and I came in contact. And I was That must have been 21. And I was acting second.
Okay.
That's nice. That's after you and I were in New York.
Okay. Yeah. That would have been, yeah. I'm trying to remember what year that was, but
I was young.
Yeah.
You were just finishing up university.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you played older than I am.
Yeah.
So you had a voice note.
Yeah, we have a voice note as well. Paul, you ready for the voice note now? Let's play one of the voice notes that we have.
Hello, good morning. This is Dean Gillette speaking. I'm sending this voice message from Rattan, Honduras. I'd just like to ask the question, as some people might know that Honduras is now under curfew because of this coronavirus. Thank God I'm in the Bay Islands and there haven't been a case here so far. But there's 24 confirmed as of last night by the Minister of Health. I do not know how much Caymanians are here in Honduras in general, because I haven't communicated with any. But I know that there's at least 2 Caymanians more other than myself here in Rattan. And I would like to know, how is the government going to address this situation with evacuating us off of this island and back to our country? I don't have a dual passport. I'm a citizen of the Cayman Islands. And the last thing that I was told by Cayman Airways was that we're going to have to wait basically till the all clear is lifted, because Honduras is currently under a state of emergency, and when the all clear is lifted, they're gonna come and pick us up. They're not having no flights because they say that they've been prohibited by the Honduras government to come into Honduras and pick up their citizens. Now, that is, someone related me that message that someone told them at Cayman Airways, be it a secretary or whoever it was at Cayman Airways. That was what I was told. It wasn't an official statement by the government, but they did send a leaflet out saying that the flights for Honduras, they won't be flying into Honduras. Now, I don't know how the international laws work or whatever, but I think, as my layman knowledge, that there's something that they could do, the Cayman government could do, the UK government could do, to get its citizens out of another country. In times of war, in times of national crisis, in times of pandemic, such as we are going through, it is the Cayman government's responsibility and the UK government's responsibility to get its people back to their country. I think that there might be some part of the Geneva Convention that addresses this matter. So the government hasn't come out, Cayman government hasn't come out and made an official statement as to saying why the situation is that they can't come into Honduras for their citizens. Cyber is what you call at a level 2 curfew. The airport is closed down. Here in Rattan there was a flight from Canada on Tuesday that came for their people and went back out. And there was one yesterday, Thursday, that came for their people that came from Canada empty. Just the pilot, I think, and one stewardess, the marshal and the air marshal, and I think it was a mechanic or something. Just the basic people. The plane came up there. They came and picked up their passengers, and they left. They got a special permit to fly in here under these conditions. They came for their people and left. There were some Canadians in Trujillo, and they left on speedboat. They got a private speedboat. They hired a speedboat, and they came to Rattan, and they caught the flight yesterday, and they left. So I don't know if the situation is that Cayman Airways can't go into La Ceiba because of the second level curfew. or not, but they could definitely land here in return, even if it's just to pick up 2 people. Now, I'm not being selfish, and I don't think I'm being unreasonable in any way. I'm just trying to make sense out of the whole situation. This is the first time that the world is going through anything like this that I could recall. I'm 47 years old now. And far as I remember, there's never been anything such as this, especially with Cayman. So I understand their lackiness to do something about it, because maybe they themselves don't know what to do. I tried calling there. No one knows the protocol. No one seems to know what to do. Not even the Cayman Islands government seems to know what to do about the situation with us down here. I'm hearing talking in the press meeting and stuff about bringing the people back from UK. Expeditiously, they're bringing them back. But nobody's talking about the people here in Honduras. I don't know if it's a handful of people or whatever the situation is, but whatever amount of Cayman citizens are here, it's a right for the Cayman Islands government to get them back to their country.
Okay. Actually, there's much more to that voice note, but we've gotten the main point, and we're going to take a commercial break, and when we return, do we have any callers on hold, Paul? One caller on hold. Let's grab that caller before we go to the commercial break, since they've been holding for a while. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record.
And good morning, Alva.
Morning.
I just tuned in. I was listening a little bit to the doctor talking. I did so on the social media, offer condolences to the family of Doc. But I want to do it publicly, not only on my behalf, but on behalf of the seafarers, because we got to know him quite well. As a matter of fact, I visited him twice at home before he passed away, and I didn't figure that it would be too long, because the last time I saw him, he was not here. But it's really sad to see this kind of thing happening, and you can't even go to the church to his funeral, from what I understand. But circumstances alter cases. So, again, let me offer condolences to his family and friends on behalf of the Cayman Islands Seafarers Association. Thank you all very much. Have a good day and keep safe.
All right, you too.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much, caller. Let's take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the Record, we'll be back shortly.
Start getting your debt under control with a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank. At Fidelity, your loan decision is quick, with no runaround. Plus, with competitive interest rates and fees, we will help you reduce your monthly payments and get you back to living again. Don't let the burden of overwhelming debt tie you down this year. Call Fidelity today, and let's make it happen with a Fidelity Bank debt consolidation loan. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
We all all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether we're celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
This is a public service announcement from your Radio Cayman, your community radio station. Here are some coronavirus prevention tips.
Home isolation means staying indoors and completely avoiding contact with other people. You need to do this if you have symptoms of COVID-19. If you are practicing home isolation, you should stay in a well-ventilated room with a window to outside that can be opened, separate from other people in your home. Keep the door closed and use a separate bathroom from the rest of the household, if available. If you have to share these facilities, regular sterilization will be required. Consider drawing up a bathroom schedule for washing or bathing, and have the isolated person using the facilities last.
For the latest updates and information, please visit hsa.ky/public-health/coronavirus or gov.ky/coronavirus.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Earlier I shared with you the update on the isolation facility for returning students. What I'm going to share with you now is the remainder of that update, which has to do with facility for essential staff whose home is impacted by returning travelers needing isolation. So the release states that a separate facility has been opened to essential staff whose home is expected to be impacted by the returning travelers. So far, 5 persons have been approved to use this facility so as to ensure the seamless delivery of services by the Health Services Authority, Uniformed Services, and 911. Then there's some information in relation to international travelers in transit to the sister islands. It says that additionally, arrangements have been made to accommodate inbound passengers on international flights who are transiting Grand Cayman for the sister islands. On medical advice, isolation accommodations have been made available to all persons arriving on flights from abroad who plan to continue to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. This includes students and others. There is a heightened concern given the limited resources on Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, the high percentage of elderly persons residing there, and the additional challenges for serious cases given the remoteness of the islands. For these reasons, all international travelers who planned to continue to the sister islands are being given accommodations to self-isolate at a dedicated hotel in Grand Cayman. Goes on to say that we strongly urge persons not to continue through to the sister islands. We are therefore giving them the means to do the responsible thing and stay in place in Grand Cayman until the self-isolation period has expired or another provision can be made which can provide similar assurances. So that's the update in that regard. And then I did receive additional information in relation to a quick update. Said that there were 24 people who have took up the offer to stay at Comfort Suites yesterday. And later on, I will provide you, those who are still interested, you can email neoc@gov.ky or call 1-800-534-6555. And points out that their call takers are responding to emails from 8 a.m. in the morning and will begin taking calls at 1-800-534-6555 from 9 a.m. As well. Gentlemen, one of our listeners has written in and said, morning, can you kindly ask your panel, why does it seem that the government isn't working closely with the opposition, or at least meeting with the leader of the opposition? I would assume that this would be an all-hands-on-deck situation regardless of political side. Okay?
Oh, see, that's a lot to answer all that you said there. Let me address the last one first, from one of your
listeners. Yeah.
Listeners. See, you have yesterday, I think, the Minister of Education said that there's no time for politics. I agree with her. I said that last week Friday as well. I said that I was hopefully working collaboratively with them on these matters, with the government. I understand cabinet decisions and considerations are highly confidential, and that needs to be respected at all times. But timely and accurate information on those decisions should also be communicated to us as the opposition. We represent a section of this country that we have responsibilities to also on an individual basis and from a national basis. We have thus far been by and large left out of the loop. Our information has been forthcoming from the news briefings. When we do get information, it's either we stop what we're doing and go to the radio and wherever we are. If I'm on the road, I do it there, and then we get it after the fact. Mm-hmm. And I understand cabinet decisions, but there, was contacted yesterday by the Premier, for instance, just prior to his press briefing, to inform me of the two cases that he was going to be announcing shortly. This is about 1:45 or thereabouts.
Yeah.
And I passed that information on to my people, my members, and I told them in it is highly confidential. Do keep it between us until the Premier has announced it. So there is nothing to suggest that we would not keep information confidential. This is our country. Yes, there's no time for politics. Let's not play it. Let's be timely in how we get this information. Let's respect the other members of the legislature. I recall sometime 2003, England, you see this thing that just came up here about other English people being able to vote in this country. This is not the first time, see that came up. Mm-hmm. Okay. We were in the middle of making a couple of minor changes to the Constitution for operational processes. And McKeever was the leader of government business at the time. And I recall him calling us all together and saying, listen, here we have a national problem. These people want us to make changes to the Constitution. Oh, so you remember this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And at least he called us together. And we went in one voice. We would not allow them to do that. Because at that time you needed naturalization. I only said that to say that that is what is needed when we have national issues facing any country. We all need to work together.
Don't wait until it becomes a real crisis.
I mean, we're doing what we can in all our constituencies. East End, I distribute papers. I am, despite the shortages and essential food stuff, I'm desperately trying to. I don't know what the plans are. We don't know. We really don't know.
We'll see. Sorry, you had a...
We have to go to the headline news at 9 o'clock, but that'll be very short. Come back, and when we come back, we'll have you address that as well. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Community radio with a different appeal. The voice of the people. Security through adversity. Stuck on you. Radio for all time.
You're listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have, on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
For today's biggest news. Access to information.
Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team.
Today's biggest news.
The Minister for Education is reassuring the nation that she is committed to the safety and education of the nation's youth during a Radio Cayman interview. She advises that all government schools have implemented a variety of distance learning techniques and tools to ensure continuation of learning among Cayman students. Official scientific advice says social distancing would be needed for, quote, at least half of a year to stop intensive care units from being overwhelmed. The Scientific Advisory Group for Emergencies has recommended alternating between more and less strict measures for most of a year. Strict measures include school closing and social distancing for everyone, while less restrictive measures include isolating cases in households. This comes after British Prime Minister Boris Johnson said on Thursday that the UK could, quote, turn the tide on the coronavirus outbreak within 12 weeks. And 2 U.S. Republican senators are facing calls to resign over allegations they used insider knowledge to sell shares before prices fell due to coronavirus fears. Richard Burr reportedly dumped up to $1.7 million of stocks last month, while Kelly Loeffler is reported to have sold holdings worth up to $3 million in a series of transactions, beginning the same day as a Senate briefing on the virus. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
For the record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Honorable Leader of the Opposition, MLA Mr. Arden McLean, and MLA and Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Alva Suku. Mr. Suku.
Mm-hmm. Well, OC, just following on from that that question, and it's important that the country understand that we are trying to be very responsible. I agree, this is not the time for politics. But fair is fair, and while the leader of the opposition has to be restrained in what he says, and he's in a constitutionally recognized position, I think I can be a bit more liberal with my words, and I am concerned with the level of what I would consider disrespect shown to him in his constitutionally derived position. That there has been a lack of communication. There has been a serious lack. I don't know what the reasons are for that. It could be that everybody's busy, everybody's consumed with this. There could be very legitimate reasons why. But when I see communications coming to him after the press briefings with official information, so in one instance he got a text saying, I'd sent you an email, but it got stuck in my outbox. This man's email address hasn't changed since I've known him. So maybe there was a technical glitch, maybe there wasn't. And then another instance where you have text messages coming after the press conference. I think it is a disrespect to him. And when the government says they don't want to play politics with this, I agree. So stop playing politics, because I see that there's some politics being played. When the premier wanted to change the constitution, he met with the opposition. He engaged the opposition. We went to London together, and we got that done together. This is no different. I understand the division between us and the government, where they have their responsibilities, we have ours. But I have constituents that I have to answer to. And believe me, I cannot keep my phone charged long enough, because the calls, the text messages, while I'm sitting here, I'm getting messages. People are concerned. People want to know that their representatives know what is going on, and they want to know what we can do to assist them. I'm getting text messages all the way from London this morning, from Caymanians in London, one in Scotland, one in London, asking me to assist them. If we don't know what the latest developments are, decisions are, how things are being handled, how can we represent the people that we were voted to represent? So, the disrespect shown to the position of the leader of the opposition is a concern for me. I think that needs to stop. They don't have to meet with all of us, but at the very least include him in their deliberations, in their discussions, or communications when they make decisions. He doesn't have to be part of the decision making, but at least ensure that he's aware of what is going on. Because he has people asking him. We ask him, we badger him constantly about what is going on. So he needs to be able to answer to us.
Precisely. Yep. One of our listeners has written it and said, "Good morning, OC. The man calling from Honduras is correct that there are rights to coming back home. Article 13, subsection 2 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, signed by nearly every country on planet Earth, states that everyone has the right to leave any country, including his own, and to return to his country as well." One of our other listeners has written in and said, my nephew overseas is an overseas student, who's an overseas student, chose not to come home. Apparently, he's the only one left at his university. He does have private accommodations. He simply said he could easily contract the virus during his travel, either at the airport or on the plane, etc. He does not want to take the chance because he feels this is the best way to help protect his family here. Very brave of him to be the only student from that university staying back. He has all his supplies thus far, so he can stay in as well. So there's one student who chose.
You got to applaud that student. That takes a lot of bravery,
a lot of courage,
a lot of courage to just stay there and understand that it is greater chances of him catching that in the airport and on his travels to his family.
Yeah.
But people want to come home to their family too. There are many others who want to come home, so we need to accommodate them. And the law is very specific. We cannot stop returning residents. We cannot stop them. I know there was one couple in other Caribbean islands that were having difficulties coming out and that kind of stuff. And then depending on the controls those countries have on, and like down in Rattan, I hope the government has heard it, but when you read that article of human rights, you realize that is relating to free movement if you want to do it.
Yes.
The there's a different aspect of what we're talking about
and
now.
The Human Rights Commission here in the Cayman Islands did put something out, and I'm going to try to find out to share that with our audience as well in relation to movement, and pointing out that under our Constitution that the government, under certain circumstances has the right to restrict movement.
Absolutely.
As well.
Absolutely.
We have a caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Orrett Connor.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Okay, and good morning to Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Ard McLean, and Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Alva Suku.
Morning.
Well, when the students are able to go back to school and people are starting to go back to work more often than what they're doing now after the 3 weeks or after the couple of months that we're now facing concerning staying home. When it comes to testing, just a suggestion. I was thinking that testing of our students should be done at school instead of having them go into the hospital. And also the testing of others, especially coming from the Eastern District and Bordentown and so forth. A good time to be doing testing there also, that we're able to get as many individuals tested as possible, even those who feel that they don't need to, would be in the morning when people are going to work in that traffic. So it's just something I'm just suggesting. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, caller.
The only problem with that is these tests are conducted in a sterile environment, in a laboratory.
But they do have some drive-through where he's taking the samples. I think he's talking more about taking the samples around.
Maybe
that's
swabbing. I think
that's what they're doing in South Korea.
But
drive-through testing and so on.
But not.
But at some point in time during the course of the show, I also want you all to talk about testing and the test kits and the availability here in the Cayman Islands, because it doesn't seem as if we have sufficient numbers here. I think at one of the press briefings, we were told that more test kits would be coming.
I think they're supposed to be here today.
On their way.
From what I understood.
Because it seems as if if we're looking at what's happening in other jurisdictions, the stress, the emphasis is being placed on testing, especially after we have permanently closed, or semi-permanently, I should say, closed our borders after midnight on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
We have everyone on the islands now to start to test, because at some point in time, the other important thing is being able to track carriers and their contacts that they have made and stuff. Because remember, we're fortunate so far, 3 cases, right?
You said test everyone, you said?
As many as possible. As many as possible. I think that needs to be done, because remember, we have the whole question, and I'm no medical expert, so I don't want to seem to be, going about Dr. Lee or Dr. Williams. But this whole thing of being asymptomatic and everything else. But it is going to be extremely important to be able to track people, because remember, they say it's going to get worse before it gets better. I don't want to scare people and stuff like that. We have been very fortunate in the Cayman Islands so far. But if we look at other jurisdictions, just look at Jamaica, we see the numbers starting to rise and rise. Larger cities, New York, you see it rising, continue to rise as well. So
I don't know if it's totally possible, OC, for us to test everyone in this country. That is precisely
Are those that are showing the symptoms?
Absolutely.
Symptoms, yeah.
We have to do that. That's what I was coming to. It is... I don't know how you would test everyone in this country. If you're showing symptoms, and you got to understand that, OC, there are the ailments now that continue to permeate the society, like always. You get flu, you got sinuses, you what have you. So we have to leave that up to the medical practitioners to determine, well, this one is a flu, but this one we have doubts on it, let us test it just to confirm.
Okay. What I'm worried about is that we take the approach of not emphasizing testing, because I saw it when, I think it was swine flu, when we had that breakout here. It got to a point where they stopped testing, and they said, just based on your symptoms, we're going to assume that this is swine flu.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that mentality to slip in, because in this case, this is much more serious.
Yeah.
And I don't want doctors to start saying, oh, well, based on your symptoms, you have it or you don't, because as we see with the two people at Health City now, they have sore throat, nothing else. So.
And the experts do tell us now what they say basically is, assume and act as if you are infected. Mm-hmm. That's one way to prevent as well. We have 2 callers on hold, Paul. Should we try to grab one? Grab one caller, do a commercial break, grab the other caller after that. Not literally grab, but caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. For the Record again.
Good morning again, Doc.
Good morning, Mr. McLean.
Morning.
I hope that you're not surprised that the opposition here is left out of this crisis.
No, I'm not. I'm not surprised. I'm still getting on with what I can possibly do. Doc, you know that. I am, like I was saying earlier, despite the shortages in basic essential because of that rush the other day, I am still doing some hoarding too, getting ready for whatever the eventuality. And if we don't need it, we don't need it, but.
Well, what it portrays, what it shows is that even in a crisis, people want change.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Even in a crisis, people want change and cannot change. And that's one of the reasons why you see I'm not aligned to any organization, because most of them are phony. And they're only conglomerate organizations or personalities. They don't mean anything, really. They only mean anything if you're in the loop. And that's one of the reasons why I said this morning I didn't go into a lot of stuff that Doc walked me through the system when I was young and told me how it works. But Sparrow, you know that Sparrow has a love song. It says only a fool breaks his own heart.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you can apply that to other situations too.
Well, Doc, I've been through this before, so it's not a surprise to me. Hurricane Ivan, you remember? I stayed in East End, and with the help of the Oldie family, we rebuilt East End. Government never put nothing in there,
Yes, I know that. I know that. So this should give you and your constituents and your whole world, the whole island, of what we actually are and how we operate. And even a crisis can break us from that craft hatred that we have for each other.
Yeah.
Not even a crisis can break that stigma that we have carried from generation to generation.
And I can assure you, and I know my colleagues are doing the same thing, we're not going to sit back now and just sit on our hands. We are making preparations in our communities.
And it's like Doc, and it's like the leader of the opposition says, you also represent people in this country.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and to neglect you and the people you represent is undemocratic.
And they equal to anybody else.
Yeah. But the whole episode that happened since January, February, March doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. I've yet to receive a phone call or a text message or a memo or anything asking me how things are going in my constituency. Mm-hmm. What are the needs? What are people concerned about? What do you think?
Well, one of the things is that which should be very and is very important to us is when people call me and say, "What are we going to do?" The world is saying, the scientists are saying, the statistics are saying that there are 20% of us who will contract this that will require direct hospitalization, quarantine in a hospital and treatment by highly qualified professionals. The other 80% are going to be like those two at up there now, up at Health Center now. Sore throat, little fever, and they'll get over it in a matter of 2 weeks. What are we going to do with them? If you get a constituency where you got 200-300 them in your constituency, are they going to be left at home? Do we have places within the constituency to contain them, to restrict them so they don't spread it out in the community? I don't know what the plans are. Yeah. I really don't know.
Okay. We have to take a commercial break. We have 2 callers on hold. As soon as we return from the commercial break, we will take your calls. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Vamped Motors is putting the brakes on for coronavirus. Strong in service and safety, Vamped Motors remains open to customers and is taking all extra health precautions needed. To eliminate cross-contamination, protective covers are being used on vehicles being serviced that are then cleaned and sanitized before they're returned to owners. All test drive vehicles are being wiped down thoroughly before and after every test drive. Vamped Motors is doing these things and much more to ensure the safety of everyone who comes through their doors. They've even set up outside seating for anyone who prefers enjoying a fresh breeze while waiting to collect their vehicle. Let's all stay safe, keep our hands clean, and practice social distancing while we work through this together. Staying open to serve your automotive needs. Vamped Motors on Walker's Road. Come see us.
Start getting your debt under control with a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank. At Fidelity, your loan decision is quick with no runaround. Plus, with competitive interest rates and fees, we will help you reduce your monthly payments and get you back to living again. Don't let the burden of overwhelming debt tie you down this year. Call Fidelity today and let's make it happen with a Fidelity Bank debt consolidation loan. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Headlines.
With the latest headlines.
One of Cayman's bright and shining young stars.
Local, regional, international.
Headlines.
Turning to international news. Updates on the hour between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays. All the news when you want it. Tune in to Radio Cayman for hourly headlines of the day's top stories.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
This is a public service announcement from your Radio Cayman, your community radio station. Here are some coronavirus prevention tips.
Self-isolation is an effective precautionary measure to protect those around you, your family, friends, and colleagues from contracting COVID-19. You or the person you are caring for should remain in your home except for getting medical care. Do not go to work, school, or public areas, and do not use buses or taxis until you have been told by the Public Health Department that it is safe to do so. You will need to ask for help if you require groceries, other shopping, or medications. Please seek the advice from the Public Health Department.
For the latest updates and information, please visit hsa.ky/public-health/coronavirus or gov.ky/coronavirus.
For the record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Lots of calls, lots of WhatsApp messages as well. We have a caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
Doing well. Good morning to everybody in the studio. I would just like to use your show just to say condolences to the family of Mr. Louis E. Banks. Already he's missed. And Christmas will not ever, ever, ever be the same because, you know, in these recent years, when Lulu has his Christmas party, it's the beginning of Christmas in Georgetown. Regardless of what anybody else says, you know, he's already missed. And again, to his family, condolences.
But I'm sure we have all seen Doc, and Steve spoke about Doc and his experiences with Doc and how Doc started out life. He started out in a gas station. Isn't it appropriate for for his life to come to this place where he owns a similar thing in the ending of his life? You know, Doc was a good man, a very, very good man.
He was a giving person, but he was also so smart, so intelligent, he had that legal mind, and anybody who knows him knows that he used it on you every time, every day, and he did it with vengeance. He enjoyed himself at your expense. So I miss him.
I know he had a brilliant mind when it came to it comes to chemistry, and he and I had many moments with chemicals and the likes. And Doc was exposed to that asbestos just like I was.
And that really, as you speak about that, I believe the Siemens organization and government should be looking into that. I mentioned that many years ago with another seaman who had passed with very similar symptoms to what they talk about with asbestos poisoning and exposure, and nobody did anything about it. The guy agreed, but nothing was done. But I believe we need a conversation, because even if these gentlemen are passed and gone, they have families that they have left behind, and that needs to be a conversation. But again, condolences to the family. I miss him already. He was a part of my life. And, miss him already. But now, before I should forget, rambling, what about all these private planes that's been coming day in and day out over the weekend gone that I've noticed, and people said even before that, what's those people, and you can see them out there parked in the airport.
Well, they fall under the same provision of commercial flights now up until Sunday.
Sunday, right. Yeah. And the government has basically said that if you're a tourist here on the island, that you should make arrangements to leave.
But a lot of those private planes are probably people with homes here, you know, and they can self-isolate.
If they're residents. Yeah. Caller, I want to thank you very much for that. I believe we have Mrs. Alex O'Neill on the line. She is the niece of Mr. Louis Banks, also known as Doc. Good morning, Miss Alex. Welcome to For the Record. And again, our condolences to you and your family.
Thank you very much, Mr. Connor. On behalf of our Uncle Louis, we would like to thank everyone who called in to the condolences.
Mm-hmm.
We would like to thank everyone. And on the 3rd of April, from 5 till 6, we will have a viewing at Churchill. And then afterwards, we will have a private funeral due to the 50 people
limit. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then afterwards, we will have a memorial service, and that will be announced at a later date. So again, thank you all for your condolences.
Okay, can you repeat those dates again for us too, please, Miss Alex?
The 3rd of April,
mm-hmm.
We will be having the viewing at Churchill from 5 to 6, so anyone could go and view.
Okay.
And then the funeral is the
We're hoping to have the funeral on the 4th of April.
And that'll be private.
4th.
And that will be private, yeah.
Okay.
And then at a later date, then you will have a celebration.
A celebration,
yes.
Right? And that will be announced.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much again, and may God bless you all.
Okay.
We see these types of funerals all over the world. We see private funerals for celebrities and whatnot, and you've seen politicians invite other politicians and the likes. And these funerals are very private, just family alone. We're not used to that. Look at what has caused us to go to that now.
Mm-hmm.
A crisis that is unprecedented. We don't even know when we will be getting out of this. Yep. And there are so many people from all walks of life that would want to go to a Doc's funeral.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. One of our listeners has written in and said, and this one is going to be a little controversial, but I will read it anyway because a person is expressing their views and it's not libelous in any way. It says, good morning. It is too bad about the Caymanians stuck in Roatan, but it is all their fault. Why didn't they come home a week or 10 days ago? They need to take responsibility for their own actions. Now they want the government to send a plane for them at the expense of the taxpayers. Shame. Shame on them for not coming home when they could get a flight. They're only thinking of themselves and not the rest of Caymanian people. The coronavirus may be there, and they could bring it home to Cayman as well. I promised that I would share the statement that was put out by the Human Rights Commission here in the Cayman Islands, and it's the HRC statement on the Cayman Islands government's right to restrict freedom of movement. And it reads, globally, the spread of COVID-19 has become the highest concern as countries, governments, heads of state, and health services organizations continually assess how to combat the mounting concerns of the virus. On March 12th, the Public Health Department of the Cayman Islands confirmed its first case of COVID-19. In response, government has made numerous decisions. Most recently, the Cabinet made the decision to restrict travel as a whole into and out of the country for a period of 3 weeks. The Commission supports the decision of the Cayman Islands government to protect the country amidst growing concerns on COVID-19. So that was in relation to that. But I believe there was something else in relation to the section, and I'll try to find that as well. We have a caller. Take the break first, or let's take the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning to you, and good morning to Mr. Suku and Mr. Arden.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You know, it's just a little joke, but I have to adopt you, Mr. Arden, Mr. Suku, Chris, and Ezard for West Bay. and then you can still combine the two your districts with us too, because we're not hearing nothing. Anyway, this is any responsible person. This should be all of us concerned, and since we're tapping ourselves in the chest and saying we're a Christian nation, what is going to happen to our mental people that is still walking the roads, begging for food? And I seen something coming out of Foster's the other day. A mental guy, he was mental from God only knows when, from the time he was very young, and he didn't really get any help. And he asked a pastor of a church if could buy him some soup, and that pastor ignored him like he didn't see him. I was behind the pastor coming out of the supermarket. I turned around. I say, you hold on, sweetheart. I says, I'm going to get you some soup and a bottle of water, but I need to know that you sit down out there under the trees and drink that. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Now we're saying we're Christian. They are still walking the streets, and they're asking for food, because now people are becoming like, some of them are becoming hard-hearted, is we would call it, and ignoring these people that are still our people, still human beings made by God. But I'm not hearing where are we going to put these people to try to get them off the streets. God knows we have enough empty buildings in town and even out of town area. There's empty buildings, but then again, it's going to be the problem, of which I don't hope, of medical personnel to also monitor those people. Still, some of them are staying on porches, sleeping on porches, and on the cabanas on the West Bay Beach. If you cross there early in the morning, you see them laying down on the benches. Now, I don't expect for government to do everything. We have to be in this together like we were in after Ivan. We're calling ourselves, like I said, I'm going to repeat like a broken record. And I'm hearing about a meeting that was held down here in West Bay. But Peter and myself and Patrick, we didn't get invited to no meeting. And we live in West Bay. People knows us. So I don't know what's going to happen. We just need to get back to who we know as our Heavenly Father, God, and I also would like to hear a pastor call in every now and then for a prayer to reassure people, because people are confused, they're saddened, they're everything that you can think about. They're stressed out. So let us try to plan something for those same poor people that are on the streets. I thank you all for listening, and let us stay on our knees and ask God guidance and blessings on these 3 islands of ours. Thank you, gentlemen, and good morning.
Thank you very much, caller. I want to read the rest of that statement from the Human Rights Commission, because what happened was the page I was reading it for didn't have, I couldn't open it up to continue. It goes on to say that whilst persons in the Cayman Islands enjoy the right of movement as ingrained in Section 13 of the Cayman Islands Constitution Order 2009, this is a qualified right and can be restricted in the interest of defense, public safety, public order, public morality, or public health, or for the purpose of protecting the rights and freedoms of other persons. The Commission supports the efforts of the Cayman Islands government to protect the Cayman community with these preventative measures. One of our listeners has written in and said, the man calling from Honduras is correct, that there are rights to coming back home. Article 13.2 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, signed by nearly every country on the planet Earth, states that everyone has the right to leave any country, including his own, and return to his country. So
it's a qualified right.
Yeah, it's a qualified right. Yeah. So both are correct, but one is more correct than the other in this particular instance, in this situation.
Well, everybody has a right of free movement between countries, but controlled by the country you're going into.
Yes.
And you have a right to come back to your country, but you have a right to come back to your country from another country, but you don't know what restrictions they have put on you in that other country.
Exactly. Got to take a commercial break. When we return, gentlemen, you want to keep the phone lines open, or do there are messages that you want to get across? Okay, we're going to continue to keep the phone lines open. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Sending money to your family overseas shouldn't be a full-day process. Stop waiting in lines. MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide, offering 3 convenient locations: Shedden Road, Baden Water Sports in West Bay, and at FIS BRAC Agency in Cayman Brac. MoneyGram by Financial Integrated Services. Visit fiscayman.com for more information on MoneyGram services. MoneyGram, bringing you closer.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No
one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment. No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
Honey, our fridge has stopped working again. Everything in the freezer is melting. We need to get this repaired right away. I'm calling Brand Source Service.
When you need the very best appliance service, call Brand Source Service at 623-5000. Offering service and installation of all brands and models of appliances. Brand Source Service is Cayman's source for appliance parts and repairs with qualified and experienced technicians and the island's largest stock of appliance parts. Brand Source Service will have your repair completed in a flash. So, whatever the problem is, call the experts at 623-5000. Brand Source Service, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Telephone 623-5000.
Hi, I am Dr. Lee, Chief Medical Officer in the Ministry of Health. The Ministry and the Department of Public Health, along with our partners, are working hard to help protect residents from the novel coronavirus. Did you know that following travel advisories is especially helpful in controlling infections? So, avoid travel if you have a cough, flu-like symptoms, and a fever. It's also important to practice general infection prevention measures at all times. That means frequently wash your hands and avoid close contact with people suffering with acute respiratory symptoms. To read more about the Public Health's travel advisory and other updates, please visit hsa.ky.
If your business is over here, but your customers are over here, adding more yellow to your business will bring you both right here. With everyone searching Yellow's print, online, and mobile app, getting your business noticed is easier than ever. Book your consultation today at findyellow.com.
This is JJ the Iceman. This is JJ the Iceman.
This is where the ride begins. A magical musical journey.
Weeknights on Radio Cayman, 8 to 10. On Friday nights, 8 to midnight.
Music Express.
Brought to you by the Anti-Money Laundering Unit. Join the fight and learn more about financial crimes. Visit the Anti-Money Laundering website at amlu.gov.ky.
A public service announcement from Radio Cayman. Coronavirus prevention tips. Advice for vulnerable people. Extra steps you can take to avoid COVID-19. If you have a chronic illness, such as respiratory disease, diabetes, heart disease, COPD, hypertension, or cancer, or are elderly, over 60, or have a compromised immune system, you can further protect yourself with extra precautionary steps in addition to prevention tips. 1. Limit guest visits at home to a few family and friends or your district community officer during an outbreak. 2. Avoid guests who show signs of flu-like symptoms. 3. Remain 3 to 6 feet away unless being checked by your healthcare provider. More importantly, remember you are supported. Call the HSA helpline on 1-800-534-8600 or 947-3077 if you have any questions. For the latest updates and information, please visit hsa.ky/public-health/coronavirus or gov.ky/coronavirus.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have one caller, and I just want to preview what we're going to talk about after we take that caller. We wanted, I see where the British Virgin Islands authorities there have spoken to their governor and wanted to know about the viability and the availability of the Mounts Bay, which is the vessel that is stationed in the Caribbean during the hurricane season. I think the Premier spoke about finances in the Cayman Islands in terms of our budget and the financial situation that can take us at least up to 4 months, whether or not that has to do with the financial limitations that we have under the Constitution as well. I want to get your feedback from the two gentlemen here, but we're going to take the callers first. 3 callers. We're going to make those 3 callers the last 3 calls. We're going to ask each caller, bear in mind there's someone waiting behind you, and then we still have other things to discuss, so we want you to be as brief as possible. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Osi.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Mr. McLean.
Good morning.
Good morning to Member of Parliament, Mr. Siku. I'm not sure whether that's in effect as yet.
Good morning.
It should be. There's a lot of blame we can place on the government and on different ones and all that, but I don't think this is the time for that now. Many things can go wrong, and I don't see we're doing very much things that are wrong right now. And people just have to understand that the seriousness of this thing, and also that life must go on, and we must try to continue on as normal as possible within certain parameters. Because we just can't sort of give up and believe that all is ended or so forth, and no. And it's a very different scenario also from Hurricane Ivan. Hurricane Ivan destroyed buildings, destroyed our power output for 2 months, 3 months, and our electricity, we had none. We had no water. That many things were not available. We couldn't get groceries from the stores. We couldn't get anything in it, and so it was a very different scenario. But people's health, in effect, wasn't that much affected. So people could gather together and help each other with whatever limited supplies they had, and so forth. So it's a kind of a different scenario. Now we can have the stuff. We can get things in by ship. We have the supermarket still open with quite a lot of things. But we can't get to people as we should or as we could, because there is the distinct danger and the distinct possibility of spreading this thing. So we have to look at it and learn from what we can. And I really appreciate the actions of the government and those who agree with them, the opposition and so forth. I'd like to thank the governor. I heard no one really commending him. Maybe I missed it. I'm sorry if I did over the days, for coming out and being with the premier and being with the other ministers, Minister of Health, and the others who are trying to inform the people and let the people know and guide them.
And of course, that's part of his responsibility.
Yes, but he could have gone online and all that, and some would have done that, but he didn't. He comes out, and I appreciate that. If no one else appreciates it, I do. And I think His Excellency has always tried to be involved with our people and all that as far as possible. One thing I think we should learn from this, and I'm very, very serious about this, as far as the money goes, if we had been paying direct income tax, we would have had a fund in there, a substantial fund from what every country that says it does. It's called Unemployment Compensation Fund, and it carries people for many, many months. It would have been in there. The government would not have to take anything to give people money or whatever. It would have been in there. And this is one of the things that I believe we need to look at rapido.
Thank you very much, caller.
Thank you all very much for what you're doing. Thank you, Mr. O.C., for Radio Cayman being so up to scratch and always there to do and to participate in these things. And for the Sunday, when we have all those Christian programs on it, it means a lot, and our people depend on it.
Thank you. Thank you very much, caller. Thank you.
Bye.
Last caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, O.C.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Arden. Good morning, Mr. Alva.
Good morning.
James Tony Banks III, better known as that Jimmy.
Okay.
Go right ahead, sir. Go right ahead.
Yeah, going right ahead, Ron. We getting a good job done by the officials. I'm very pleased with that. Very, very pleased with that. The information that's coming out from to the opposition could be very much upgraded. But anyhow, I want to know. I've been listening quite well. I probably missed a couple of programs, but is the clinics still opening on the same schedule that they was, or are they going to be opened up more often, or did you get a schedule on that? I can't remember hearing anything about it.
Okay, I think the HSA did put out something there, and I think the clinics will continue to operate as normal.
We don't know.
Yes.
So, but he's saying that government doing a good job. That's the kind of stuff government should have been putting out there for residents.
It has been put out. It has been put out in one format. On one of our shows, it was either on Monday or Wednesday. We had details from the Health Services Authority in terms of what was functioning, what wasn't. I'll try to find it. But the district clinics was one of those that would continue to operate, caller.
Yeah, but in terms of if this gets worse, I don't know what he's talking about.
Well, I would imagine if there are changes, then they would announce them. But as it stands, district clinics are open and continue to operate.
Absolutely,
yes.
They are now, yes.
Yeah, I was trying to find out if they were opening more often.
No.
At this point in time, there really is no need to. It does not appear as if there is any need to open any more often. If the situation were to get worse, then I would imagine that the government would do that. And I would encourage you to continue to listen. And certainly Radio Cayman, if anything new comes out, we'll provide it to you as well. Thank you very much, caller, for that. Gentlemen, let's talk very quickly about constitution, revenues, and expenditures, and where we're at with that. I know, Mr. McLean, you and I spoke on the phone a few days ago about the bullet bond, and you pointed out to me that measures had already been taken in the Legislative Assembly for the repayment or partial repayment, whatever the government chooses for that. That was voted on before. The bullet bond comes due on 2021, I believe, gentlemen.
No, it was 19 or 20, one of those. But that was that with already.
Okay.
They were going to refinance part of that.
Okay. Section 111 of the Constitution states that the legislature shall have the authority to levy or charge the rates of revenues unless otherwise provided by law. All government expenses and the incurrence of liabilities shall require appropriation by the legislature unless otherwise provided by law. A law enacted by the legislature shall govern the operation of the government's financial system and processes. And it seems as if everything is intact as we speak.
Well, the one that is important is 113, and that
public debt.
Yeah, public debt. That's the one that applies for the FFR. Okay, and where it allows government to borrow monies for debt servicing and expense and the like. But I think it's 90 days we are required to have reserve, operational reserve in the public management finance law, because the Constitution make provisions for that law to be made. Okay, I think the last time I recall, we were 140 days reserved on that aspect. But certainly the Legislative Assembly, with consultation and agreement from England, and the government can expand all of those borrowings to facilitate emergencies and the likes. And I believe that's what the Premier may have been talking about when he talked about there being 4 months available of reserves. I think that may be what he was talking about. But I don't know what responsibility England is going to take up now. If they're going to, I know they have Public Health England here, and the governor continues to say that England is available has committed to assist in overseas territories, including the Cayman Islands. I don't know if that means England is going to assist with financial matters and assist in these dire straits, or we have to do it ourselves. As far as I recall, we have always had to do it ourselves. The aftermath of Hurricane Ivan and the miraculous phoenix rise from the ashes and the renewal of this country happened all alone. It was only us who created that rise from the ashes and the renewal of this country. England was not there to or anyone else for that matter, to provide anything for us. And during those periods, we didn't have 4 months of reserves as opposed to 90 days of reserves. And our debt service ratio was much higher at that time, was closer to 10% than it is now. So I believe from a financial perspective, the government is, this country is on its way to protect itself to a great degree. But that's not to say that England cannot assist, and I would like to think that England would step in and do that. Because they're going to have to do it for the overseas territories. We always are up the creek without a paddle when it comes to finances and grants and support. We're always treated more like we can do it ourselves.
So you're talking more in terms of financial or technical support?
Well, financial, because we are going to need. This is going to cost us a lot of money, the government. You see them already announcing things like $600 for taxi drivers, additional for people in NAU and the likes. That's nothing that you can just dismiss.
Yeah, that's going to be millions of dollars.
Millions and millions.
I'm not sure if people really get the gravity of that, but it's going to cost this country a lot of money. Now, where that money is spent, you may have some economic benefit for the economy somehow to keep it going, but we're also going to see a decline in government revenues. I don't want to preach doom and gloom, but let's be realistic about it. Yeah. People have to be very careful now. And what I've done, I've been advising people, even the families, they need to sit down now and do like a little 3-month budget in a spreadsheet. Be realistic about your revenue, your income. Because a lot of people are going to get reduced hours and reduced income, but be realistic about your bills. And this is the time now to be calling your creditors and people that you pay regularly and negotiate.
That point there, Mr. Suku, is extremely important because we know what happened in some situations with foreclosures, that people came to you after the fact. They have reached the point of no return.
Yeah.
And while banks have announced that they will do certain things, can you stress the importance of them speaking directly with their banker, going in and seeing them, whatever, to make their arrangements?
And that's what I'm doing. I have like a little checklist now. Do that budget. Speak to your creditors. Speak to your landlord. Speak to all those people that you may not be able to pay.
Yes.
And try to make arrangements. Ask for concessions or whatever. Ask for waivers on payments, whatever. But talk to the bank.
Yeah.
Don't wait until 3 months down the line and the bank is then looking for you. Go and speak to the bank, because the banks now are being very reasonable. They're opening their phone lines. They don't want to open the doors and saying, come talk to us.
Yes.
Make those arrangements.
And
now,
document whatever you say
yeah.
to them and who you spoke to and the time and everything else.
And also, the government has announced that they're going to offer financial support. And also, I want to make that clear. I'm supporting the initiatives the government has done so far. I just didn't like the fact that things are being done without the leader of the opposition being consulted.
Yeah.
But that's a fact of life. That's just life. But let's also make sure that, as soon as you do that spreadsheet and you realize you're in a deficit position, you contact NAU. You have families with kids and so on. You're going to have to find a way to feed your children. Take care of them, provide the necessities of life. Try to also cancel certain things that you don't need, that are not necessities. You may, I'd hate to say it, but Netflix, if you don't need it, pause your subscription for the time being. Try to be a bit more frugal and try to be a bit more conservative now, because we don't know how long this will last and we don't know exactly what we're faced with yet. So start from now.
Okay.
I mean, even mention now the 3 weeks that we are shut down, that could be extended, which is true.
Yeah, quite
because
possible.
we don't know how rampant this thing is going to be elsewhere.
And we're so much dependent on the outside world.
Exactly.
As well.
These are basic stuff. It is like Ivan. We now have to cut back on what we're doing, or social interaction. We need to plan the way forward. Each person has a responsibility to plan their way forward. But more importantly, stay home. There is nothing out there now to come out to. Everything is closed unless you need basic stuff. There are other people who can get it for you, especially the elderly. Those we have to be very concerned about. Yes. We need to take care of them and be responsible. You cannot overemphasize how much being responsible can protect us. It can protect you. It can protect everybody. Who wants to be accused of spreading doom and gloom in this country?
And
is it you? I don't know. Just be responsible.
And like we said, act as if you have the virus.
And wash your hands constantly. Okay. And this is a new thing, that a new arena in our own personal hygiene that is going to be a lesson for us as well.
Exactly.
Because we catch flu all the time, and it's because we're up in somebody's face or we touch something they touch or whatever. We have been doing this.
Okay, we've gone beyond our time, but very quickly before I close off, some persons wanted to repeat the dates in relation to the viewing of at Churchill's funeral home for Mr. Louis Ebanks, also known as Doc. The viewing will take place on April the 3rd from 5 to 6. There will be a private funeral, for family members and stuff. That would be private. But it will also, they expect that will be live streamed as well. So the important date for the public, those who want to view, is the April the 3rd from 5 to 6 at Churchill's funeral home. Folks, I'm way over the time. No closing comments. Just say to you, simply join me on Monday for the record. Again, have a great weekend. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates.
FIS MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide. MoneyGram, bringing you closer. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.
You are listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.